Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Sunday edition of Andy the Gabby Cabby, our, weekend chat. I hope everyone is okay this evening and you are all having a good weekend. It's a little bit warmer where you are. I've actually got the jumper on. I was just discussing changing it because it's a little bit on the hazy side, but we'll see what happens. Evening all, Morris's monkey says in an old school copper's voice. Absolutely. I'll tell you what. In the background, behind the scenes, I had what you would term a miscellaneous F. For those of you that don't know what miscellaneous F means, it's miscellaneous fail. It's an army term for a FUBAR, which is another army term, and it's too early in the live stream to say what they actually really mean. I'll let you work it out for yourself. I came in here 5 minutes beforehand, was talking to Bloodnose, my moderator, in the background, and thought, oh my God, we need to be live. Just to point out, speaking of Bloodnose, I've just seen this pop up on the screen. Bloodnose has been a channel member of Andy the Gabby Cabby for 22 months. That's nearly 2 years. That's just the £1 a month channel membership that runs in the background. Thank you, Bloodnose, for all your support, being a subscriber for all this time. And you do great stuff, great work for me in the background. Very much appreciated. It's an honour, Andy. The honour is mine, sir. The honour is mine. That is for sure. Well, what a week it's been. Very exciting week. I don't know where to begin, actually. You know, communications, news, all that sort of thing. I'll tell you where I'll start. I want to start with an absolutely average story about an absolutely average fella. You see, there's a YouTuber called Absolutely Average, who you will probably know, Russ, who's having a bit of a bad week. I'm not going to go into details because he wouldn't appreciate me airing his laundry in public. But suffice it to say, hello, mother. Good to see you. Suffice it to say, let's send him some best wishes and support as to, the week he's having. Hope he's okay. The other thing as well I want to mention with Absolutely Average, there is a little bit of drama going on in the Twitter space, Twitter. And there is a certain account which seems to be giving Absolutely Average a bit of grief. I'm not going to name that account because I don't need any publicity, but let's just say, stop being a dick. And the reason I say that is because we know who it is. It's quite simple and doesn't take a lot of working out. So if they carry on, you know what happens to trolls. So hopefully they'll take that and leave my mate Russ alone. Anyway, let's move on to another YouTuber, Paz. Let's stick his face on the screen. He appreciates this one. Too much of a close-up. Now, Paz has been, a very big supporter of mine. For a long time now, and I appreciate his backup and his help in the background, his advice, his friendship, and everything else. He's a good man. And on Wednesday at about 8:30, Paz and I are going to be doing a live stream, and it's going to be an explosive one. We have got a lot to talk about. No threat there. We are going to have a very good live stream, and hopefully on Wednesday at 8:30, a lot of you will be able to join in and see what that's all about. Now, to all the subscribers of the channel and all the regular supporters, I found this before I came on. We are closing in on 71,000 subscribers. Thank you very, very much for all of your support, all of your help, and all of your comments and encouragement. I hope when I wake up tomorrow, that is over 71,000. The channel is going great guns. And a few years ago, when I started this, before that horrible lockdown we all had to endure, I never ever thought that that would happen. So again, I appreciate everybody very, very much. Now, let's have a quick look at some of the comments, and then we'll move on to some of the stories I've got for you. Let me see. Gary Thornbury, Texas has kicked the feds out, guarding our own borders now. Florida is sending troops in to help. It's crazy over there, isn't it, Gary? I remember reading a thing about, New York. They're a self-proclaimed sanctuary city, aren't they? And I think coach loads are being bussed up there. I know a couple of people in New York, a couple of retired NYPD police. Police do come in handy sometimes, don't they? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You never know. And yeah, it's bad hearing what I'm hearing. So my best wishes to my American friends, definitely. Reform BBC, you have my support to help you get to the 100,000. Good luck. Inspector C, thank you very much, Inspector C. That's another YouTube friend of mine with their own channel. I hope to do well. So if anybody can subscribe to them, really appreciate it, and I'm sure he will as well. Now, there's one comment in here which will lead us on to our next article. Child maintenance is bigger than the post office by a long way. You are absolutely right. Now, the child maintenance scandal hasn't had anywhere near the amount of press coverage that any other scandals have had, which have come out, and there's going to be a few scandals. Now, one of the primary contacts involved in this that I'm in contact with, of course, is Noel Wilcox. I've spoken to Noel over the weekend, and he's got some bits and pieces to deal with tomorrow. And we're going to be doing a live at some point, hopefully this week. So you're going to be spoilt for lives. You've got this one tonight. Wednesday, we've got Paz. On Sunday next week, I'll be doing a live with a guy called Sovereign Pete. I'm sure people have heard of him, and that's going to be to do with council tax. I'm very much looking forward to that. Interesting. That's a pet hate of mine. And at some point, I'm going to be doing an interview stroke live with Noel Wilcox as well. So you've literally got 3 more lives this week. It's going to be busy. Sorry, Blood Nose. Hopefully you can turn up to all of them and give me a hand. I'm getting a thumbs up from him in the background, which is all good. All good. Right. Child maintenance. Now, this is important. Yeah, Lord Jim Dandy, I did see that. He couldn't stop laughing. He could not stop laughing. That was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, child maintenance. Now, let's have a look. Over the weekend, I received a message from somebody who was really destroyed by the child maintenance service, for want of a better word. Utterly destroyed. He wrote a summary of his story, what the child maintenance did to him, and left him in a state. I'm not going to ask him to come on or do anything with me live, because to be quite honest with you, I don't think the guy could handle the pressure, the exposure, and it's just not fair. So I wasn't going to ask him. But what I did ask him was, could I share his story? To which I got no problem. So here it is in brief. I was pushed to 2 serious attempts to take my own life, ended up in a psychiatric ward for months. I had 12 sessions of ECT, was, well, spaced out of my mind. I was a zombie for several years. 30 years in, I'm still heavily medicated, and at 64 years old, still having to work 12-hour shifts to pay my way. Destroyed my life, and I will never recover. By the way, I had I assume that I was paying maintenance for 6 years, and then the CSA ripped up the court order in 1994, and I was paying £500 a month for one child. Now, £500 a month in 1994 was worth a hell of a lot more money than it is now. And the CSA, as they were at the time, now the child maintenance service, got involved and destroyed that poor bloke's life. You know, I relayed a story, and I'll relay again my experience as a child looking for a window in the court at my mum and dad getting divorced, and it was in front of a judge. It was amicable, and I don't remember any of this. And that was at the time of the miners' strikes back in the, well, early 80s. And, you know, it's a disaster what's happened ever since. In short, we need to get as much exposure out there about the child maintenance service as we possibly can. If you've got a story to tell, you can either come on here and you can tell me. Somebody's mentioned Fathers for Justice. Oh, yeah, I echo that. But it's not only fathers, is it? Mothers too, parents in general. It's not a good situation at all. Now, what we need is stories. Come out there and tell me your stories. Let's get them out there. Come on here. Talk to me if you've got something to tell. You could go on the live streams, the catalogue of live streams that we've done, and look at the interview I did with Ian Briggs, where I sat here and listened to him relay his story about Gavin. Absolutely heartbreaking. Now, one of the things that's doing the rounds at the moment is a petition about, getting a public inquiry to this. Now, if I share the screen, here it is. Now, I refreshed this page just before we came on air. 4,923 signatures. There you go, 4,923 signatures, and that will climb. Now, to read this, just in case you can't see it, we are concerned that incorrect assessments and inflation of amounts owed by paying parents, combined with excessive use of enforcement action, has caused significant distress to many paying parents, leading in some cases to catastrophic consequences. We want a public inquiry to investigate this. We want the government to launch a public inquiry to investigate how child maintenance assessments have been conducted. The validity of the £3.8 billion in arrears, the enforcement action taken by the Child Maintenance Service to correct arrears, and the impact this has on paying parents. Now, you can see that's creeped up by another couple while we've been talking about it. With these government petitions, there's two levels. There's the level where you get 10,000 signatures, and at that level the government has to respond to them. They have to. And then if you get 100,000, you end up, well, effectively earning yourself a debate in Parliament. There's the link to it, and I'm sure Blood has put the link to it in the chat as well. Now, what can happen is either we can affect meaningful change or it will get ignored completely. But if that petition gets the limelight, if that petition gets some kind of exposure, in turn, it will give exposure to the whole issue, which is what we need. Now, for a little while, N. Parry, hello, good to see you. For a little while, I'm going to leave the petition down there, the link. So if anybody can sign it or share any of the child maintenance videos I've done, then it will help to gain exposure. And just to show you another article to do with this as well, I'll pull this up on the screen. Anne Widdecombe, and we all know who she is, has been very, very big with this, doing an awful lot of work and an awful lot of press coverage. Anne Widdecombe exposes the next big miscarriage of justice. Now, as somebody rightly pointed out earlier, this is much, much bigger than the post office scandal. Much, much bigger. And it's been going on for a long time. And there are so many victims of this out there. I've been emailed personally by a couple of people with heartbreaking stories. Hello, Sylvia. Good to see you. And, they don't want them made public because they just want to have their lives and, whatever. But it's damaged so many people. Let's have a very quick look at what this says. Victims of the Child Maintenance Service are being pursued. This is the thing. By sums of money they simply do not owe or could never have owed. You're talking about thousands, literally thousands. And there was a bloke who was in court recently, over the last week or two. They were going to take his house, and he's got kids living with him. But the judge saw the light and said, you know what, child maintenance, Foxtrot Oscar, that's another military term, by the way, come back when you got the proper paperwork. And we need more judges like that. The obvious lesson to learn from the excellent Mr. Bates versus the Post Office is the sheer power of the media. This is a good point that Anne makes. Disgraceful situation has been going on for years, been getting coverage from time to time, has been before the courts, and still the Post Office and ministers including the leader of the Lib Dems, dragged their heels, get away with it. Even while desperate souls took their lives. It's awful. Suddenly, the PM himself gets involved. The falsely accused postmasters are released, offered justice. But that's not the case for the child maintenance people. The child maintenance scandal seems to go on too long. They seem to get away with too much. It really is bad. Really, really bad. Now, I'm going to... Oh, right, okay. It looks like I might have put the wrong link up there for the child maintenance thing. So I'm going to remove that. There was an old link as well. So I'll try and find that one a little bit later on. In fact, we can try and do something about that now. Bear with me a sec, people. Very slight technical difficulty. And I shall just try and sort it out. But while I do, thank you everyone for joining me this evening. This is obviously the daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. If everybody wants to hit the like button, I would appreciate that very much. That means that the algorithm will push this around, which is what we need. We need this chat around so people know what's going on. Yeah, Blood, that is the wrong link. I did copy paste earlier and it didn't work. I will try and find that very, very quickly indeed. If you haven't done so already and you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing this evening. It's completely free to do. And we are on other social media channels as well. We're on Twitter and we're growing on there. Facebook, Instagram. I think those are the main places. And, we're getting as much exposure as we possibly can. As somebody called it, effectively, it's the new media. So all good. Blood, if you could check this one for me, I think I've sussed it. I did copy paste and it didn't work out right. Yeah, you beat me to it. All right, lovely. Jubbly, thank you very much. Right, let's have a quick look, see who we've got in the comments. Loads and loads of comments, loads of regulars. Oh dear. I've been playing a drinking game this week. Every time a miscellaneous F is used incorrectly, I take a shot. I'm pissed. I bet you've had lots of shots. You know, if I had £1 for the amount of times a miscellaneous F was used incorrectly this week, I'd be as pissed as you. In fact, I think Blood just fell off his chair laughing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, thank you for that, Ryan. That's raised a smile. And I hope your channel's going all right as well. Obviously, you've rebadged everything and going in another direction. Wish you every success, my friend. Every success. This question again. Andy, would you ever do a live phone-in? The Reverend Simon Sideways, when he does a live stream, he has a thing down the bottom. It says, call me with a mobile number. Probably quite easy to do. And there is another YouTuber who we've not seen in a long time who used to do a phone-in twice a week. I'm not comfortable with live phone-ins. It's not what I do. It's not the way this channel goes. I'm not sure whether I could. I've poo-pooed it in the past and said, no, I will never do it. But, never say never. But I don't think so. I don't think so, really. I think I'd be biting off more than I could chew. I'd probably have to hang up on a few too many people. That's for sure. Michael Hancock. I was on Sideways last night. Good fun. Absolutely average. Take a miscellaneous F. How dare you be late? Anyway, good to see you, my friend. We spoke about you at the beginning, and best wishes to you. And I hope everything's okay in your area. And there you go. Right. Let's have a look here. There's a few more comments we'll come to in a minute. But one thing I want to talk about, diverting to politics just for a second. I'm going to ask a question. Do you think Nigel Farage could ever win a seat in Parliament? Do you think Nigel Farage could become an MP? Give me a 1 for yes or a 2 for no, and I want to see what you think. There's a few ones. 2, Pete. Ones. Well, there's more ones than twos, put it that way. A lot of people seem to have confidence in the old chap. Well, I live in South Thanet, the South Thanet constituency. And the last time Nigel Farage tried to get a seat in Parliament, he actually tried to get this seat where I am, not the seat I'm sitting on, South Thanet. Now, the MP for South Thanet currently is Craig McKinley, who is a friend of Howard Cox, who is running for Mayor of London. Now, the Tories threw everything in the kitchen sink at this seat because they didn't want Farage winning. And what Farage and his entourage did, this was under the old UKIP banner, they went round literally every boozer in the area and spoke to us, the public, trying to, put across their message and find out what we wanted and what we felt. And I went along to one of these one night and listened. And by God, that man can hold a crowd. And him and his entourage made common sense. They said exactly what we were thinking. Now, the only thing with the UKIP council that we ended up with, they were a deep disappointment because every promise they made, everything they said that they were setting out to do, they never did, and shirked every promise anything they ever made. It was a disgrace. But Nigel was a big thing in this area, and I remember him. I saw him several times walking around door to door, knocking on doors, talking to people, seen in the streets. And when we were in the pub, I was literally that far from him. I was at the bar ordering a pint afterwards, and right behind me, Nigel Farage. I thought, my God. And he was just, when I saw him, he was outside having a fag, just like a normal punter. Well, it turns out that he could have a good chance of winning. And it's not South Thanet, it's somewhere else. I want to show you a video that came up on GB News. Let me have a look at this. I'm glad to see Absolutely Average chatting to all the regulars in here because he said to me beforehand, one of my many friends on YouTube, very handy, having your backs in a crisis, that's for sure, that he might have a bit of problem getting here tonight, but he made it, and I'm glad. Anyway, listen to this.
The Mail on Sunday, where it looks like our very own Nigel Farage may try to get into the Commons again.
For the 8th time, yeah. Well, we know that Reform are very much on manoeuvres. We know he's the honorary president. So Nigel, it looks like he may, or he would do well if he stood in Clacton, which is one of those very kind of UKIP.
Is that a seat that, yes, that's a seat where if he did stand, his chances would be best?
Would be best, yeah. So it's currently held by Giles Watling, who's obviously a Tory MP. This would be Farage's 8th attempt. Farage is polling around 37% there. Conservatives and Tories on around 23%.
Ooh, interesting.
They're much behind.
Labour.
Sorry, Conservatives and Labour are neck and neck around 23%. Right, I think the Tories are slightly behind. But Richard Tice, head of Reform, has been saying he's expecting quite a lot of Tory MPs to cross the floor. He's hoping up to 10 MPs will cross the floor. And there's a sense this week,
cross the floor to where?
To Reform.
To Reform.
Yeah. But there's a sense, well, the problem, of course, is they know their chances are incredibly slim. I mean, their chances of even getting one MP because of our electoral system, because of the two-party system. But there's a sense that this week, the Rwanda bill is key. How the government responds to that, how that goes, is going to decide a lot of Tory voters, Tory MPs. And of course, lots of them know they're going to be voted out at the next election. So they may well feel that Reform is a better option for them.
They may feel Reform is a better option for them. Now, as an Englishman, this whole thing worries me deeply. It does worry me deeply. I worry for reform, that they're going to be full up of pissed off Tories. I don't think that should happen. I think reform should be full of people that actually have a clue what they're doing and what real life is all about. And when you hear terms like the electoral system means they won't get any people in, unfortunately, part of the electoral system means that people are trained to think that way. Oh, there's no point in voting for anybody else because the electoral system won't let anyone else in. Well, sorry, but if you put genuine, hardworking, common sense people in every seat in the country and say, here is somebody proper to vote for, then damn well get out and vote. The voter turnout for the last 3 or 4 general elections has been below 70%. Where are the rest of them? And those that do come out, you've got 2 choices if we're going to change this. If you want another generation or 2 of the same old crap, then vote Tory or vote Labour. If you don't, you have to change it. Get out and vote. If you can't bring yourself to vote, then say, I do not consent. Any sport ballots or anything like that is just giving tacit agreement to them to carry on as they please. If you don't believe me, look up David Cameron and that Cleggy bloke over a decade ago, and you'll see what I mean. It's madness. I mean, hopefully Nigel will get in. Hopefully more than Nigel will get in. It's got to change now. We've got this, British Parliament. Britain is just a lump of land in an ocean made up of different countries. It's just a political union like the EU. We've all been screwed over the last 300 or 400 years. It's mad, absolutely crazy. And the more I read about it, the more it makes my blood boil. Hence, I say I'm an Englishman. That's the way I look at myself. Have a good look. Think about what you want to do and whether you can affect change. And if you can, do so before it's too late. That's all I'll say about it. Absolutely average. 2024 will be the year of awakening. Oh, yes, for this country, for politics, for people, for certain individuals even. They're going to get a rude awakening, and some a lot sooner than others. That's for sure. Anyway, back to the comments, and we'll have a look at another article that come up. Blue Angel, don't know if you can look into this, Andy. Overpayments of tax credits, and you don't know about it till they send you a bill for thousands. I've had some experience with that. Many years ago, I was in tax credits, and what happened? When I left the system, I got a bill for, I think it was about 1,500 quid. And I told them to roll it and stick it up the nearest orifice they could find. I've not heard from them since. So I don't know whether I will again, but that's the thing. And that reminds me, anyone on universal credit, this is for you. This is for you. Something's come to light fairly recently with a friend of mine. And I wanted to do a video on this to warn people, but I thought I'd do it here as it's live. When you are in receipt of universal credit, you're put into different groups depending on whether you can work or whether you can't and what your capabilities are. If it's deemed that you're capable of seeking work and looking for work, what you have to do, you have to log into what they call the journal every month and accept a series of commitments. It's a bit like the old days where you go down the jam roll office with your job seekers logbook where you've, looked up the local paper before you go down there and fill in all the job vacancies and what you're going to do about it. But yeah, it's a more sophisticated version of that. If you don't log in and you don't accept your commitments, they will close your claim with no warning whatsoever. This will happen to you. Now, what they should be doing, they should be sending an email through saying, you've got a message in your journal, log in, check it, and, do the necessary. But this particular person didn't get the message. And then they eventually found out, of course, their claim was closed. Not a great situation and a complete failure on the DWP's part. So one to look out for. Many people on Universal Credit, they can sit there all day long and they can log into their journal and have a look. Others have busy lives, businesses to run and all that sort of thing. They don't get the time. They need a nudge because there's more important things to worry about. And if you don't, you'll get your claim closed. So not good. Anyway, another couple of comments. We'll have a look at the next thing. Andy, my namesake, they took nearly all my wages every week. 2001, when I made friends with my ex, she said they were giving her less than 1/10 of it. That is another scandal, Andy, right there. You know, and you obviously found out when you made friends or ended up on speaking terms with your ex, they're taking an awful lot and not passing on what they should be. Hello, Clown World. Good to see you. Another friend of mine on YouTube. Go and check him out. Good bloke. I did a live stream with him as well. A little while ago now. Perhaps we can do another one at some point very soon. Yeah, they take an awful lot off you, saying it's destined for your ex-missus and your kids, and yet they see a percentage of it. And if they take off of you rather than you give voluntarily, what will actually happen in that case? They add 20% on as like a collection tax for them having to do it. It really is disgusting. Really is disgusting. And they're profiteering off of people's misery. They're profiteering off of the breakdown in relationships. And it's got to stop. It needs exposing. And I thank you for your comment, Andy. If you want to tell me anything else or anything else you want out in the public eye, then contact me privately and perhaps we can go a bit further. I'll leave that with you. No pressure. It is up to you, of course. Ben, I worked for Nigel Farage 20 years ago. Wow. Okay. Excellent. What did you do for him? Let me know. M. Parry, what is the consensus on the Heritage Party? Reverend Simon Sideways said he would vote for them and not reform. I have not heard anything about them. I must admit, M. Parry, I'm not really clued up on the Heritage Party. The problem is as well with, you know, this system of voting and this entire system we have, the media and everything else. We're in a situation where we don't get any exposure for alternatives. So it's left to people like me to push those alternatives out there because we won't know about them. It's simple. Very simple. Now, let's have a look at another article. I want to turn our attention to the Red Sea. Who thinks that the priority of any government should be the safety and security of our own coastline, our own border? Give me a 1 if you think that's the case, or a 2 if you disagree. Yeah, here's a 1. Who else is coming in? 1. Yeah, my mum's a 1. 1. Bloodnose, I've just seen Ben Manning say what he used to do for Nigel Farage. I don't know if you could pick it up and star it so I can read it. I saw him flash by. Yeah, overwhelmingly everybody is saying 1. The priority of any government should be the safety and security of our own coastline. Then why are we sending millions of pounds worth of resources, ammunition, assets that we don't have because we've given most of them away, and we've even got Grant Shapps questioning the entire existence of some, like the Royal Marines, somewhere thousands of miles away? You know, tell me that. I want to play you a video now to do with our aircraft carriers. We've only got 2 of the damn things. Have a poke at this. I'll share this. I do like poking things. That sounds rude, but every now and again things need a good poke, including this.
my guest Nigel Nelson earlier, we've had John Healey, your Labour counterpart, so to speak, talking about the fact that our armed forces have been hollowed out. The fact that we can't deploy HMS Queen Elizabeth to the Red Sea does suggest that our defences are woefully underfunded, under-resourced. We're not in a great position, are we, to be involving ourselves in these affairs in the Middle East?
Well, thanks, Camilla. It's a pleasure to be on the programme. And just to be absolutely clear, there is no truth whatsoever in the suggestion that we cannot deploy the carrier. I'm pleased to confirm both our carriers are in Portsmouth, they are at readiness, and they are able to be deployed if needed, if the operational decision is that that is the appropriate response. Just to highlight, because I appreciate there's been some coverage at this point, Queen Elizabeth, one of the carriers, returned only 8 weeks ago from a 13,000 nautical mile mission to the North Sea and the Baltic Sea. So it's not true that we can deploy them. I think what it is focused on is the fact that one of the support ships is about to go into an upgrade. That's very common in Liverpool, maintenance of the ship, but we have other support ships available.
Okay. Do you envisage that there will be more strikes that the UK will support in the near future?
I think the key point is this: we have to get the correct characterization of the military effort undertaken so far, which was a very specific, targeted strike, proportionate, justified under international law. Of course, we don't rule out further action if it was justified. And
what is going to be the impact on the British people? I speak, of course, in terms of prices going up. We know how strategic and important that shipping lane is to the Western world. 12% of global trade passes through that area. Inevitably, are we going to be seeing prices go up again? Is this going to hamper Rishi Sunak's target for keeping inflation down? What's the impact, and what the government going to do to help people in the UK?
Well, it's a very good question. As you know, we made huge progress on the plan to cut inflation. We halved it by the end of the year, as the Prime Minister promised. So obviously, we don't want to see that being reversed. That's why it's so important that we've undertaken the military action that we have. The Houthis were attacking international shipping from many countries. They've been doing so since November. Wholly unjustified, indiscriminate attacks, which put lives at risk, let alone the economic consequences. And of course, ultimately, they attacked a British naval vessel, HMS Diamond, which put us in the position where the Prime Minister concluded that he had no choice but to act in the manner that he did.
He had no choice but to act in the manner that he did. Okay, now I see people in the comments saying that the audio was stuttery. Was that the audio on the video that I just played? Can you give me a 1 if that's the case? Sometimes that happens when I pull in external sources to show you different things. Just the video. Okay, so you can hear me okay. I assume that's all right. Yeah, just the video. Okay. Yeah, what the guy was trying to do was justify the fact that we sent all of our military assets over to that area to do whatever it is that they did. I mean, here's another question. Do you agree with our actions? Give me a 1 if you do. Give me a 2 if you don't. Do you agree? So a 1 if you do, a 2 if you don't. A lot of 2s don't agree. And not only that, we were never asked, we were never consulted, yet they go round. A bit like Rishi Sunak in another country, beginning with you. He can take a miscellaneous F as well. And giving billions of pounds worth of our money to somebody who I won't mention because of the algorithm. Kiwi wife, I'd rather not comment. I'm in the ministry. Fair enough, Kiwi wife. I don't blame you because you never know who's keeping an eye out. But yeah, you know, all of the same opinion, really. There are a couple of ones in there. Definitely a couple of ones. Paul Flint, Pete got fibre. It's faster. I've got fibre here, and I've just had a thing through about a free upgrade. So I'm going to look into that and see what happens. Now, just to remind you all, hit the like button if you've just joined us or you've been here a while and still haven't. Daily chat with Andy the Gabby Cabby. Appreciate everybody joining me. It's good to see you all. Thank you very much for the support. And we're at 40 minutes going strong, nearly 160 watching, and it's good. Paul, there's a few people commenting that it's a powder keg, isn't it? A powder keg. Let's have a look at some more comments. Absolutely average. Russ, I believe the CSA used the Horizon computer system. I want to know why the contract went to the cheapest bidder with known faults and bonuses paid to the engineers when they found irregular. Absolutely. And I concur with that, Russ. I actually know that they use the Horizon computer system. I was told that by somebody in the know, and it's disgraceful. I also received some inside information, you could call it, from the post office regarding the computer systems around the time when all this started kicking off. And around the time all this started kicking off, I worked in IT myself. I worked in IT for a great number of years before I was a cab driver. And it's very questionable, some of the things that I did see. Pete, been there, had many of my UC stopped, no warning, because I was supposed to get a pension setup request, never got it. So I spent just over a month with zero income. It's awful, Pete, isn't it? The computer says no, they won't listen to reason. They're right up a gum tree. It's awful, really bad. Yes, Ben, I was on the phones in Soho for UKIP. It was like telesales. Sadly, I was a bit of a lefty. Oh dear, I'll let you off. As were my colleagues, plus the pay was low, so I didn't stay long. He was nice. Shame. I'm a huge fan now. I noticed you said was a bit of a lefty. Are you still a lefty, or are you reformed? Ben, I wish I had Nigel's number now. I'd love to work for him. Well, I don't know if we could make that possible. I have a friend in a high place. Email me, and I'll forward it on to somebody that I know. No promises, but I'll see if there's anything can be done in the background. Anyway, I want to talk about merch for just a second. New Year's Eve, I said to you that some merchandise was kindly done for me from a regular subscriber of the channel and somebody that helps me out a lot in the background. And I had a load left. Now, a couple of days ago, I sent out 3 mugs. I sent out three mugs and 3 T-shirts. Now, I've got some stuff left. I actually don't want anything for this stuff before any troll-like people start jumping on, calling me a grifter. I just want to give it away. I've got these T-shirts. I've got a few of them left. There's even a red one. See? All Andy the Gabby Cabby T-shirts. I've got large, extra large, medium. There's a few sizes there, so if anybody wants one, get in contact with me with a name and address, and I'll get it shipped out to you as soon as possible. I've got 1 mug left, but unfortunately somebody's name is on that. I don't know if my friend Dave is watching this evening, but he did mention the person to me, and I want to make sure they get this. But what I've got left is T-shirts. So if anybody would like one, get in touch, and I'll get those shipped out to you. All I need is a name and address. Unfortunately, I'm not Royal Mail, even though I might operate a little bit quicker than they do. So we'll see what we could do. If it's free, Andy, I'll have 2. Email me, Mick. I just need an address. Of course, I'll send you a T-shirt. You've been with me a long time. I appreciate the support. So that's that. Last story, and then we'll have a look at some more of the comments, is about car rentals. Hertz. There was a bit of a big story come out a few days ago. Oh, before I go there, Andy, do you think the DWP's bank snooping AI software is going to be using the same as Horizon? Some insiders think it will. I'll take a girl's small tea off you. Email me, Chloe, and I'll have a look through my stock and see how close I can get to that. No problem. And as for your question, possibly. I don't like this whole bank snooping. I think it's a disgrace. And I do wonder if anybody can manage without universal credit, get the hell off of it. But there are many people that can't manage. So they really have got you by the short ones. It really is a bad situation. Anyway, car rentals. We've had a couple of stories recently about electric vehicles. There was one I put on about a bus in London, Wimbledon, of all places, that went up in smoke. Not great, is it? Another miscellaneous F, in fact. Now, what the issue was, obviously electric vehicle, boof, and we're going to find out more. But apparently the electric buses have been pulled in the meantime. Now, Hertz, the big car rental people, I see them at Heathrow a lot, have taken a decision. And here it is. Car rental giant Hertz dumps electric vehicles in the US in favour of gasoline engines. All because, by the looks of it, primarily the insurance, collision and damage costs are too high. So if anybody prangs them, and I know that they're writing them off for very, very minor damage, and it's all to do with the batteries, really. The cost of those. They said on Thursday they would sell 20,000 electric vehicles, which include Teslas, from its US fleet due to higher expenses related to collision and damage, and will opt for gas-powered vehicles. Shares of the rental company, which also operates vehicles from Swedish EV maker Polestar, fell about 4%. Tesla's stock was down about 3%. Hertz also expected to record $245 million in costs related to depreciation expenses from the proposed sale of the electric cars. So this is a major company, and you can see them all there, Tesla's mainly, who are saying, no, got to cut back. It's just not worth the cost, of actually running these things. Let's get rid of them. Who knew? And I wonder how many others. I mean, in this country, you've got the bus situation, which I just mentioned. You've got Luton Airport. We never did get to the bottom of that, did we? There was one at Bristol Airport. Where else? I haven't been to Luton Airport yet. A colleague of mine did and said it wasn't actually too bad. So we'll have to see. Anyway, let's have another look at some of the comments. I have Mercedes in garage. I miss my Mercedes. I really do. I drive my big Ford Tornado, Lucinda. It's done 333,000 miles now. So getting an old girl. Right. Pip, universal credit is a nightmare. I care for my dad who has dementia. Bless him. Best wishes to the both of you. And they threatened to stop my carers' pay if I did not go back to work. Told them where the pier was and jump off. I'm staying to care for my dad. Sometimes blood and family loyalty goes a lot further than pound notes, doesn't it? I don't think they realise this. You know, I'm all too familiar with a situation where somebody close to me could find themselves in that situation very soon, where it's got to be a case of work or care for an elderly relative. And it's one of those things, isn't it? Comes to us all in the end. Cosmic War Toad, Russia and NATO ships in the Red Sea and forces on the ground incoming. 109,876. Yeah, quite possibly there. Quite possibly. Lord Jim Dandy, Diane Abbott wants 2 left-handed mugs. Yeah, she could probably have them and expect 3, even if she said 2. I'm with you there. Pete, have you seen the adverts for those Chinese junk boxes, BYD on British tier? I haven't yet, Pete. I've heard about them, but I haven't seen them. Reform. The Royal will be taken away from post office after it's been run for years, like New York Mafia. Never use post office again till this is done. Well, it's scandalous, isn't it? You got the child maintenance for one thing, and there's some other stuff going on to do with banking and various other bits and pieces. I get so many emails every day telling me about this, that, and the other. It's trying to determine what you should bring to the fore and what you should keep out of it. But there's an awful lot going on there, and it's all going to come out. I think there'll be scandals galore very soon. Morris's Monkey. Insurance companies are not insuring people with electric cars. Far too much to repair if having a prang. I've heard that, Morris's Monkey, and I've also heard that the insurance on electric cars they will insure is really going up. My insurance has gone up. I mean, we've got 2 cars in our family, my wife's and obviously my taxi. My wife's insurance has gone up by, I think it's 120 quid for the year, and that's with 2 of us driving it. I don't know what mine will be yet. Private hire insurance, which comes with a few extra bells and whistles, we'll have to see, but I'm sure that will go up too. Has anyone else had a car insurance renewal come through? And if so, has it gone up? Let me know in the comments. Seems to be all over the show. Just to tell everybody as well, at the beginning of February, from the 6th to the 13th, I will not be here, actually at home, where the family and I are having a vacation, which is long overdue. So I've got to try and work out what I'm doing that week with videos and stuff. I'll probably pop up as much as I can do. Lord Jim Dandy, O'Sullivan won, Andy. Brilliant. That's the Masters, wasn't it? That was the Masters. So I did try and catch a result of that earlier. My mate Dave, I mentioned earlier, will be watching that. Just up by £100, Jeff says, with his insurance. I don't know if it's worth shopping round. Will you be able to get any more? My motorbike insurance, 89%. My God, that is really, really ridiculous, isn't it? Really ridiculous. Cosmic Wartoad. Anybody got plenty of reduced Christmas chocolate from the supermarkets? I've still got a cupboard full of it. I was having a good nosh up earlier on before I came out here. The Cadbury's Heroes. I think the boxes are getting smaller by the year. I've got loads of those. Yorkshire Pud. Pip the Fookers took my carer's allowance off me, and UC decided I'm being overpaid and took off me despite knowing carers got stopped. Disgusting, isn't it? They don't know what, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing either. Hard Tulip. I'm getting my passport from government, not the post office, after seeing that ITV show about them. Absolutely. I didn't go into the post office for mine. I just did it all online. I think I went and got some photos and that was it. And where I didn't have my old passport that expired, I had to fill in some other form and go from there. Well, my wife's was the entertaining one, because when she had a passport last, she wasn't married, and now she's married. I had to show them proof that we were married, proof she was who she used to be, proof who she is now, and it's a bit of a pain. And when I got all the documents back, our marriage certificate, which is about that long, had the end torn off of it. What? How dare you? But, at least it come back, even though it's in a couple of pieces. Enjoy your holiday, Andy. Thank you very much, Paul. I will. I'm very much looking forward to it. That'll be nice. I'll try and do some stuff. There's a lot of YouTubers which go, oh, look at me, I'm on holiday. But I don't want to go down that road. I will check in when I can, you know, but, you know, I'm on holiday and I'm sure you don't want to see it, but I will pop in from time to time over that week, that's for sure. Tony, I was going to purchase another motorbike. One quote I had, 1,900 quid. Jesus, Tony, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anna, another long-term supporter of the channel. My insurance due soon, but this is the year I have renewed my license because of age and may indicate a higher premium. Hope not. Yeah, I was just talking to my dad about that the other day, Anna. He's, well, a long way over that age where you have to renew your license. I think it's 2 or 3 times now for him. And he was telling me about all the self-cert paperwork you have to fill in and all that sort of stuff. And Parry, I read online that you should shop for insurance 3 weeks before the due date for best price. That's one of the tips, isn't it? There's that. And then answering certain questions in certain ways helps to, you know, bring the premium down. And also, I think even the time of day you do it, it's that specific. It can bring the cost down a little bit. It's well worth looking into that sort of thing. Sylvia Spackman, my car insurance went up double despite no claims, etc. Change provider, no problem. Their loss. Absolutely. Well, I think you're going to stay with them, don't they? And O'Sullivan won the Masters 10-7. Excellent. Arguably the greatest player to ever pick up the cue with what he's done. Stuart Hawes, I hate the carers and UC system. Carers pay one amount, UC and deducts more. Saying that's the way it's calculated is different. Awful, isn't it? At the end of the day, they want to get out of paying you. That's what it's all about. Oh, wrong one. BYD, an interesting car brand. They took over a massive showroom of an old large VW dealer near me, which relocated after many years. BYD seems to have a massive showroom now, but hardly any cars. Strange, isn't it? Strange, Richard. Very strange. Another one, 10 Dogs Donny. I don't think we need passports anymore. Get a rubber dinghy, get down the coast, free accommodation, phone, free grub, and free money. Can't be bad. Yeah. And meanwhile, all of our naval and military assets are in the Red Sea, turning a blind eye. Awful. Chloe Devereux, Andy, are you getting a London dashcam cabby to take you to the airport? Would be an interesting drive. No, unfortunately not. I know who you mean as well. I've got what we do when everything went back to normal after lockdown. One of the things that we had a shortage of was taxi drivers. So we all decided to club together and work together. And as such, we've got a good network going. And I've got one of those drivers taking me and my family to where we're going. And then I've got another driver insured on my own minibus who's going to drive that to come and get us home again when we return a little bit later on. So we're not going very far away. And we've got someone looking after the house sitting. You always need a house sitter. So it will be good. It will be good. But just a quick note about communications, everybody. Speaking of that, I get messages all the time. As I said, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, I'm on here. These are the places where you will genuinely find me. I tend to post on the other places, probably Twitter, although, you know, it's sporadic really. But if you want to get hold of me, bless you, Alison, I did see you send me a message on my phone, but I haven't had a chance to reply to it. Hello to you as well. Another one of my long-term supporters. Appreciate you saying hello there. Yeah, if you want to get hold of me, the best way is the email that Blood has put in the email address. I mean, you know, Twitter for one thing is great. It really is great. It's a bit more of a free speech platform than it used to be. And just to be clear, I will say what the hell I like, reply to and like what the hell I like. That's one of the beauties of it. And, you know, I don't necessarily get to everybody all the time, but if I don't, you can always email me. Anyway, folks, we're at an hour. That's the end of another live stream. I want to thank everybody for joining me this evening. It's been great. It's been great having you along for the ride. As I said, make sure you hit that like button on the way out, and it helps the algorithm push us around, which is vital. Just to recap, on Wednesday at 8:30, I'll be doing a live stream with Paz. That's 8:30 in the evening. So please make sure you tune in for that one. And I'll set that up probably this evening when we go off air. Next Sunday, I'll be talking to Sovereign Pete. That should be an interesting one, all about council tax. And then I'll be doing another live stream this week at some point with Noel Wilcox. And we've got to get a date fixed in. He's got some very important meetings tomorrow. He's going to speak to me after, and then we'll go from there. So again, thank you everybody for joining me. Stay safe. Enjoy the rest of your evenings. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.